to Freshly Forever, a podcast that gives you fascinating insights week after week. Here's your host, Vi Kumar.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode on podcast Freshly Forever. Today we have here the wonderful Satyajit Hange. He's the co-founder of Two Brothers Organic Farms, a biodiverse organic ecosystem certified by EcoCert, based out of Maharashtra, India. Satyajit, with a background in economics and an MBA, coupled with rich experience in the banking sector, turned to find peace and started Two Brothers Organic Farms along with his brother Ajinkya Hange. From a transition from a corporate life to farming, which he calls their professional problem solvers. So it's with great joy that I'm going to sit down here to have this conversation with Satyajit. Welcome here to Podcast Freshly Forever. How are you doing?
Hi, Web, and hi, everybody in the community. Thank you for inviting me, and it's a pleasure speaking to you.
I think it's just going to be a wonderful conversation because with sustainability at the focus for me in season 3 of this wonderful show that has reached all global continents and listeners in like several parts of the world, including rural towns like yours in India and in other parts of the world, it just gives me so much joy to start this conversation with you here. So why don't you take us through the science of say growing all these sustainable products, because people sell them like me sitting here at home. I don't realize the interconnection of all these species and what kind of a positive impact even sustainable farming has on the community in terms of our health, in terms of all the good microbes and things like that.
Awesome. I'm a farmer's son, and both me and Ajinkya, and we grew on a farm, but we were put in a boarding school where we were doing a job, and the fascination for farming got us back. When we came back, we realized that farming is not only the profession of growing food, but it's connected to everything from, like you said, the smallest microbes to even global warming. We realized that for farming the right way, all you have to do is increase the number of microbiology in the soil. The soil functions in a very complex but simple form. The soil has all the required nutrients for the tree or for the plants to grow for the next couple of million years. The deeper you go, the density of these nutrients keep on increasing. But the form of these nutrients is they are in an unavailable form. So it's like I'm giving you grains to eat. You can't eat the wheat grain directly. You have to grind it, make a flour, bake a bread, and then consume that. Similarly, this unavailable form of nutrient has to be converted to an available form. How do you do it? This is what modern science did not teach us, and especially as farmers, where they recommend using chemical-based nutrients to administer via the soil or via the leaf through a spray and growing plants and food in that fashion. But nature functions very simply. The more the number of microorganisms in the soil, and by microorganisms, I mean your bacteria, fungi, nematode, protozoa, and so many available forms of nutrients to available forms and provided to the plant. And this is a very symbiotic ecosystem. The plant, through its white root, releases an adjuvate, which is a transparent substance. Suppose it needs boron, a micronutrient, it will release an adjuvate that attracts boron, solubilizing bacteria. And this bacteria is then eaten by the fungi, and boron is released, and the tree takes it. And this happens in 3 seconds. And that's how plants grow in the jungle without any human interference. And that's how agriculture was being done in a country like India for a couple of thousand years. And all this agriculture that was done was sustainable. The farms never lost fertility. The soil never lost the capacity to retain moisture and water. And trees grew, giving you fruits that were rich in all the nutrients. But somewhere down the line, to boost productivity, we implemented what is today called as contemporary agriculture. And in the course, administered a lot of chemical fertilizers and killed those microorganisms, burned the carbon in soil. And today we have reached a stage where soil is not fertile, it doesn't have water holding capacity, there is no biodiversity, and the food that grows is not nutrient rich. To give you an example, an apple in the early 1940s and 50s in the US contained X number of nutrients, which were enough to give you vitality and to give you all the essential nutrients. And that's why they said an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But
Uh-huh.
today, to get the same number of nutrients, you have to eat 32 apples. That's the sad state of affairs right now.
So that's a great introduction right there. What then is the role of farmers in preserving this ecosystem? Or rather, it seems like an alarming sign, right? That if we are transitioning out of all the good practices and everybody is just focusing on bulk and increasing the productivity. So, what is the role of farmers? It almost seems like an SOS right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Farming for me is not only a profession. In India, with the culture that we have of farming, we're always guardians of the soil. The soil is considered to be mother. In my local language, it's called Kari Ai, black mother, and we call her mother I. I always keep saying this, that farmers need to look at the soil and farming as guardians of this biodiversity of the soil. Cultures are built when soil is fertile, and cultures have collapsed when soil has become unfertile. It's basically common sense. If it's fertile soil, it grows good food. People can thrive and we can live a healthy life if there is good food. If that isn't there, the essentially the entire civilization is put to risk. So, as farmers, I feel we have to look at ourselves as guardians, protect the soil, and pass it on to the next generation who wants to do farming. We have got this opportunity to do so much of good to soil microbiology, to biodiversity above the soil. There are birds, there are various species that live in the farm. When it's a biodiverse farm, there are heirloom varieties of crops you grow. It's your duty to protect and take forward those heirloom native varieties. And in the long term, when you grow perennials and a food forest, you are sequestering more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere in the soil. Today, carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is a big problem because is leading to global warming. And there are so many other adverse effects of global warming. But when you practice this kind of farming and you're taking that, I would say, not so beneficial carbon dioxide that is there in the atmosphere and sequestering it in the ground, and it turns to carbohydrates and stuff when it is sequestered on the ground and becomes of use to the plant. I think a farmer is the best scientist alive today. A farmer is somebody who will help preserve and protect Mother Earth the way it is, instead of finding land up in Mars or some other planet.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Very well said. And you guys have easily sequestered 70,000 tons or more of carbon dioxide in the process of all this work that you're doing at Two Brothers Organic Farms. And what then is
Yeah.
the role of, say, part of it, as much as farmers want to stay ethical, want to stay true to Mother Nature, want to stay true to their ideology and everything. There is also the role of society, right? In terms of even consumer support is pivotal to this sustainable ecosystem. What then, Satyajit, is the role of consumers? Because to me, I have used your products. I love your products. I know the benefit out of it. Say if we pick one of your Instagram posts was like very interesting coming out of Two Brothers, the Instagram handle. One day, it beautifully highlighted how jaggery, the natural sweetener, if you put it out on the counter, it attracts ants and it attracts other species, right? Right there, we talked about microbes. That's why I had you even start with the interconnection of species and the role of good bacteria and microbes. Right there, it's pointers that a product that spoils or a product that attracts microbes is the real one. And it's not like chemical laden, right? So only when it's laden with preservatives that you just put it out for months and months and nothing happens. It seems like it's staying fresh. So for consumers like me to understand the importance of good products out there that not only taste delicious, but also is like full of this good ecosystem, microbes and everything. How can we appreciate that and help farmers like you and weigh the pros and cons?
I feel it's a very close knit eco which needs to be supported by consumers. I think consumers need to get aware of choice impacts farmers, biodiversity, water, and so many other things that I just spoke about. Because when you choose food on with chemicals, you are voting for those practices. And a farmer will keep growing it in that way. I agree, organic food is costly. It's costly today because very few farmers are growing it. The economies of scale and all other stuff don't work in the favor of somebody who's growing food organically. It's very difficult. And I think when you vote, when you choose to have food that is not grown with chemicals, you're voting for a farmer that's growing it the right way. I agree you'll have to pay a premium, but that premium will go a long way in supporting the right practices, in supporting Mother Earth that will keep it in a livable condition for the future generation. And that premium is not a lot. Either ways, we are paying a huge price because of the adverse effects of global warming and because of eating food that is laden with so much chemicals that give you various other health problems. So as a consumer, become aware, choose food that is grown the right way, and automatically farmers will know there's a demand for food that's grown the right way and will shift their practices to sustainable organic practices. Otherwise, there are very few farmers like me, Ajinkya, and the others who we work with in Two Brothers who proactively, without considering the economic benefit or the commercials, have opted to do organic farming. And I don't expect this from 99% of farmers because they live on a very tight budget and it's difficult for them to take a risk with their produce and take a hit in productivity or expect a higher value for their goods. So that's the case, I think. You should choose what you're
Yeah,
eating.
yeah, it's an education issue with the consumers also, right? Yeah, either you are paying for good food, good practices, and that way you just build that ecosystem and you encourage several farmers to put out that plethora of supply of good products, or you are just eating bad products and you're ruining your health and paying at the pharmacy. So it's just a trade off, and it's something, it's more education issue with the consumer, like you pointed out. And right there, I also could completely tell your passion when you said, okay, you're just focusing so much on this and you transition from your corporate journey to becoming this conservationist and farming. And you all call yourself farmers are professional problem solvers. So why don't you take us through your journey, Satyajit? I know you had your own little share of health issues, I believe some back issues and things like that. So what has been the transformation for you, say from that mundane corporate life to finding peace, like you call it?
So it's been a different life that I'm living compared to what I was living in the corporate world earlier. Like I said, I'm a farmer's son. I was born in this small village which I'm sitting in. It's a 100-year-old house. It's called a Wada. And I love this. It's a simple place. And we were put in a boarding school in Pune, the nearest town, where we studied from our kindergarten to our post graduation. I did my MBA and then started working with banks like Citibank. Ajinkya followed same route and worked with a couple of banks. But somewhere there was this vacuum of sorts, somewhere there was this lull of sorts where we were not enjoying what we were doing. Though if you were getting these fancy designations and a good pay package and stuff, and to get to roam the world, we were not loving what we were doing. When we thought about what we love to do, the answer was farming. Farming in India or even worldwide is not looked as a profession where you evolve to do, where you earn money, where you have social respect. All that is missing in farming today. But since we wanted to pursue our calling, we went to the farm and started farming for the love of farming. I think 2, 3 years into farming, we realized that we have to sell the produce at the right price. That's when the brand was born so that we can continue with the practices that we are doing. And then the story slowly unfolded to where we have many customers in a couple of countries now and help support over 4,000 farmers at the back end and have turned over 5,000 acres of farms into sustainable farming. That's it. When you said issues when I was working, yes, I remember being in a boarding school and we were good at sport. We were always healthy and played a lot of sport. When I took up a job in a bank, it was mostly sitting and working. And that's when at the age, I think 27, 28, I just couldn't walk a couple of meters. I had this very striking pain in my leg and I was wondering what that pain is. And when I got myself diagnosed, I realized that that pain is basically I had a disc herniation, which is commonly called as a slip disc. When I asked my doctor, he said, this is common with people who sit for long hours and sitting is the new cancer. And I'm like, I was healthy and playing a sport all my life. And what does this happen to me? And during that same time, this dilemma of doing what I want to do and doing what I love doing was running in my mind. And all this thing coupled together, and we left our jobs and came back to the farmland and started working some chiropractic, but mainly keeping myself moving and building that muscle and sweating it out on the farms with some exercise. I didn't have to undergo any surgery. And today I do half marathons every fortnight and run 8 kilometers every alternate day while working in the farm. On an average, walk around 22,000 steps a day. And there is no pain. When you mention that, it's like another life I was living then and another life that I'm living now.
I can totally relate to that. It's all getting out in the open and being able to breathe that fresh air seems to make so much of a difference rather than being stuck to desks and doing the same old stuff, right? Okay. Focusing on this education aspect of making consumers realize even what goes into the whole science of being able to provide sustainable products. And you touched upon it a little bit. What then is this regenerative agriculture? Because people hear all kinds of terms and they just don't seem to be able to be very sure of what is what, right? Even certain organic certifications and things like that just doesn't seem to cut it for certain customers. So why don't you take us through all of that and the challenges you as a farmer face in terms of even being able to provide such clean products, Satyajit?
Everybody is now familiar with the word organic farming. Organic farming means not using any chemical pesticides to grow food and not ruining soil fertility. But organic farming today allows you to monocrop, to grow only one single crop. Organic farming today allows you to use external organic inputs, which are manufactured in a factory or something, a biological or something. All these are allowed. Regenerative is has come to correct all this. Regenerative means today, if I'm farming and growing, say, 10 sacks of wheat, and I'm removing that kind of matter from the ground, I am replenishing the ground with a lot more that allows the soil to grow 12 sacks next year and not only extracting. So regenerative practices means you are regenerating the fertility of the soil even better than what you had when you started farming. And these include practices of natural farming like mulching the ground with farm waste, not monocropping, but polycropping, growing to an extent non-hybrid, non-GMO food, and using dung as manure, using other natural stuff as manure. So all these are practices of regenerative agriculture.
Okay. Some of the challenges you as a farmer face in being able to provide such clean products, right? Is it just the cost alone, or is it anything else that's like a roadblock to you guys being able to consistently just do this, or for many farmers to do this day in and day out?
The first block is the social conditioning. 99% of farmers do not do organic farming. So in my village, when I say my, I am speaking on behalf of the farmers that we work with. In my village, when I want to change my practice and go to organic, I will be ridiculed by everybody in the village because I am doing something that's against the tide or the wave, and I would be made a fool out of for experimenting. So that's number one challenge. Number two is the ecosystem that is there in the agricultural landscape, the agricultural colleges, the government agricultural department, the research and development in agricultural sciences is 99% oriented towards chemical based farming, conventional based farming. It's not there for organic farming. I learned organic farming by speaking to older people who learned it from their older generations. So it's come through that stream, but there is no scientific research and development on a large scale that educates even agricultural graduates on how to do organic farming. So that is a challenge. Getting seeds native. While we do organic farming, we do not use any hybrid or GMO seeds. We use native heirloom variety of seeds. Getting hand on those seeds is very difficult. There are no seed banks that government keeps. It's farmers like you and me and people who love this kind of farming have developed a seed bank. So we don't have the money to keep it well, to research, to grow their production capabilities and to make them better. Third is manure. We rely on cow dung manure to a large extent to do this kind of farming. Then when you're actually doing farming, it is managing your weeds. Initial weeds keep growing. It's difficult to manage weeds. There's a lot of manual labor involved in removing weeds since you cannot spray any Roundup or glyphosate, which is a carcinogenic weedicide used widely amongst farmers across the world. So I have to remove weeds manually. And lastly, I would say the marketplace is very difficult for me to find a marketplace that does justice to all the efforts that we have put to grow food in such a clean way and to sell the produce at the right price to the consumer. That's the last challenge.
Okay. So I see several challenges there in being able to even maintain this or keep this going, like sustenance of this system. So we'll come to that in a bit. But what about the impact of pollution? We all know how our air quality is, how our water quality is, how our marine life is, how soil is. You talked about the soil a little bit earlier, but what about the other things that have to all coexist in this like universe for us to even be able to see a continuity or for many farmers to be able to even do something like that?
Absolutely. I think we feel we are disconnected from everything around us. And as humans, our job is to, I would say, take our things and survive without worrying. We do not worry about the implications of our action on water, on oceans, on soil, on the climate. And this requires wisdom. And I feel that we all need to think very holistically to realize that we are living in a continuity and not in isolation. Every action of ours has some of the other percussion on nature, on living organisms around us. And we should be mindful of that fact and live in with that mindfulness.
Okay. What about Mother Nature in being able to nurture this entire system and the role of human capital? We all need abundance of rain, abundance of sun, abundance of soil. Everything has to be in harmony, right? Again, how we as humans, how are we impacting that when it comes to all the habitual stuff that we do, Satyajit? And what about even the availability of all this human capital when it comes to just contributing to this sustenance of this ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. We feel that it will take a long time for the repercussions to show up. But it was not too far when the industrial revolution happened. And it's not too far since the carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere have gone up. And our generation, but was just like 50, 60 years back since this started. Chemical farming in India started 50 year back, 55-year back. And it's already ruined 30% of India's soil. It's already producing food. 90% of the food in India is chemically laden, and that's leading to many people having chronic diseases and ill health. So it happens very fast. It's not something that our next generation will face. The repercussions of global warming are something we are facing today itself. There is prolonged periods of drought. There is prolonged periods of heavy rainfall. There's temperature dips. There is very high temperature. And all these, I would say, anomalies used to happen once in a 20-year period. Now it's happening every third year. And soon it will start happening every second year and every year. And how are we even able to cope up with all of that, with rising sea levels, with erratic rainfalls, with prolonged droughts? If you check the air quality, I was in the capital of my country in Delhi last month, and the air is unbreathable. It's difficult to even breathe, simply breathe. It's difficult. That's the quality of air because modern techniques of farming have made farmers burn all farm waste, all that rises up and settles down in a city like Delhi, which already has many polluting vehicles and industries. And the air is simply unbreathable. And it's causing, I think, more than 50, 60% of the people to have lung diseases and simply they cannot just breathe in fresh air. It's weird to think something, if I had told you a 50-year back that you would have to purchase water to drink, you would have laughed on me. That water is it's available everywhere. I can open the tap and drink water. But today in the villages of India also, everybody drinks bottled water, or everybody drinks that RO water, filtered water. There's a can which comes and is delivered to their houses. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't. Right to good health is everybody's fundamental right. But I'm saying, why is this angle of purchasing good water come in when water is a fundamental thing? And today, if I tell you that 10 years down the line, you will roam around the cities with an oxygen cylinder, you laugh at me. But I am sure this will happen. This will be big business for somebody, but you will find many people in the cities working with oxygen cylinders because of what we have done to the environment. And yet, if you don't understand, yet if you don't wake up, then I think we deserve this catastrophe that's taking place across the world.
Yeah, it's very pathetic, right? All of us just, we seem to encourage more plastic than we should. Everywhere, we are just surrounded by plastic. And very recently, it's been a lot of eye opening conversations for me. And that has just led me as a consumer even to think more and more. And I've started just now. Pretty much, I've eliminated all the mixed fibers in my closet. I'm trying to just wear direct cotton, direct wool, like straight up fibers, and eliminating even all the mix
Amazing.
of it. Yeah, I'm just trying to do, and I'm trying to sit here with experts like you in creating awareness in this forum. I sincerely hope that people just listen to it and benefit from it, because the whole idea of this program is all about offering actionable insights to listeners. And in terms of, yes, these are the natural challenges that we have all magnified by our actions. But human capital, do you see challenges in being able to preserve and being able to offer, say, A to Z of whatever you are doing? Because farming is still not seen as an avenue. We talked about not honoring nature's rhythm in several ways, and
Yeah.
we have just gone against the tide. We have seen both nature's boon and nature's wrath. What about even human capital in being able to just continue to preserve and provide? Your thoughts on that, basically.
If you ask me how many percent of people are noticing this and investing time and effort to pursue a business or a livelihood that protects the environment, I would say that human capital, I would call them conscious human capital, is yet very small. It's insignificant. The outside world, the other new age industries, tech are so attractive, and the system is such that nobody is incentivized to actually come and work towards making the earth better. Everybody is incentivized to just dumping on the earth and manufacturing more and consuming more. And hence, I think the system needs to be changed. And there are very few people who will consciously step out and try to build an alternative world and a sustainable world. And those people should be separated, and we need more of them. Presently, there are very few of them who are doing something in this fashion of sort.
Okay. And what do you think makes your product line unique amidst all the challenges that we have talked about? So let's just focus on your products and all the wonderful things you do, Satyajit, along with your team.
So I think the most unique thing about our product is the love with which we make it. But I'm just kidding. Apart from that, it's unique because it respects the soil, it respects all the microbiology in the soil, it respects the farmer who's growing it, it respects its health, it respects the climate, it respects water usage, it respects heirloom native variety which has come to us with a genetic knowledge of a couple of thousand years. And ultimately, it respects tradition and culture, because all the products that we make have no additive, preservative, binder, filler, essence, perfume, color, absolutely nothing. When you read the back of pack of our labels, it is 100% pure food. So it respects you as a consumer and your health, and the love with which you make it. That's, I would say, a difference in today's times. It should be a norm, but today it appears like a value addition, which I'm sad. Everybody should be making food in this fashion, and food should just be food and nothing apart from it.
And your expansion to global markets now. So, what was it that you saw was glaringly deficient here that made you realize that this is time for us, in spite of all the challenges in being able to even sustain locally and provide all the clean products? You have just decided to go big. And what was it that kind of caught your eye, Satyajit? I know you were here on a very long trip to the US.
Yeah. So, what intrigued me is that over the last 5 years, we have been getting a lot many orders from the US, and we never did any marketing out there. But and it's costly to ship from India to the US, but consumers are paying for it, and word of mouth was spreading in the US. So we took this 40-day tour in September and October. We went to the East Coast, the West Coast, the middle of US, visited around 10 cities, and met over 1,100 people in person. Every evening, we used to have a talk where we spoke on sustainable farming, clean food making, and we had a dinner set when we did our products. And it was a 3 hour interaction with consumers. Along with that, we also visited many of the Whole Foods, the Costco's, the Walmart, the Air Ones, the Trader Joe's, saw the entire market space. And that's when we realized that why the state of health in the US is so bad. Because the food that you get is not real food. There is so much of other stuff, and science has gone the wrong way and added all these extra stuff and made food which is not food, and actually food should be like medicine. But when we make food in India, the way the products that we are making like ghee, jaggery, wood pressed oils and everything, it's a traditional 1,000-year-old technique of making food. And we find there's a lot of value in taking this tradition and culture of making to us and serving them with this good food that's like medicine.
Okay. And even here in the US, did you see that customers are still completely blank and they don't realize what they are eating?
Yeah. That was that is glaringly clear. Majority of them are not aware of the food they're consuming, and they are illiterate to reading labels and to studying or researching about the food they're consuming day to day.
Mhm. So, from that standpoint, how is this dietary and lifestyle practices going to impact our ability to have a sustainable lifestyle, Satyajit? With your personal experience, with you being in this business of providing clean products, and with you having met and seen the customer side of the journey, do people even realize that diet and lifestyle play a role? And how can we emphasize that diet and lifestyle is certainly being a
The holy grail.
roadblock to having a sustainable lifestyle?
Yeah. I think it's time now that the modern medicine has been in our daily lives. It's been more than 50, 60, 70 years. All types of pills have become the norm of the day. And we are realizing that it's not the pills that are giving us good health. Uh, there is this growing, increasing awareness that one pill ultimately leads you to having another pill, which leads you to having another pill because of the side effects and because of them not being in your interest in the long term. But when you consume good, clean food and your lifestyle is corrected, you can live a healthy life without popping a single pill till you're 100. This sounds very novel in today's times, but this was normal. In the village I come from, people lived 100 years without complicated health issues because their diet was clean and the lifestyle was good.
All right. So, how do you think your ghee is like one of the special products? And we all know ghee is from Ayurvedic lifestyle. We all know that ghee is meant to be medicinal, right? But people just buy any butter and then say, okay, I made homemade ghee. So, what is the difference between melting the butter out of a store shelf versus the ghee that you provide or you create at Two Brothers?
So today, ghee has come to mean clarified butter. Today, ghee has come to mean a butter that you melt and it's ghee. But that is not ghee. The first country where ghee was made was India. And Ayurveda has written the benefits of ghee in everything. But ghee in India was never made the way it is made today. It was always made by taking milk, then boiling it, then keeping it till it becomes lukewarm, then inoculating it with fresh curds, and then turning the entire milk to curds, and then turning the curds and getting white butter, and then melting that white butter to make ghee. It was a five-step process. And today there's a lot of awareness. Yeah, it's cultured ghee. You culture the milk to curds and turn the curds. So today, now there's awareness on the fact that this ghee actually melts below human body temperature. It has butyric acid, which is good for your gut microbiome, apart from having many other health benefits as enumerated in Ayurveda. So the butter ghee is actually detrimental to your health. The cultured ghee is actually beneficial to your health.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. And what about everything two brothers that you want to just talk about here in terms of where people can find you, where they can shop, what they can do? Because obviously there's going to be several of our listeners here that are completely new to your product and that can just benefit from such clean product line. And
Yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
again,
Happy to share.
yeah, your plea for all of us to kind of transition to a sustainable lifestyle and save Mother Earth.
Yeah, happy to share where you get the stuff that we make, and happy to share it with you guys. Just on Google, just type in Two Brothers Organic Farms India. The website will come, and you can happily shop from there. We deliver from our village to anywhere across the world in 5 days flat. So I've been doing this for the last 5 years. And the plea that I would like to make to everybody is, if not anything, no wise quote from me, but if not anything, just be selfish. Be selfish about your health. Be selfish about your children, because they have a future that's going to be on Mother Earth. So be selfish and care for the earth, or your children are going to live in it. And be selfish and eat good, clean food, because it is the body that is the only thing that accompanies you throughout your experiences in life till your death.
Yeah. Well, I would like to add that be selfish about, you know, turning the money that you make to buy clean products because, yeah, that's what matters.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, your health is your precious wealth, and that's what matters the most. And so we all need to be selfish, not just about money, but mostly or mainly your health, right? So thank you so much for this fascinating conversation. I know you and I are sitting miles apart to have this wonderful conversation, and amidst all the challenges of technology and Wi-Fi, sitting in places where even technology has penetrated today, is that's just fascinating. But thank you so much, Satyajit, for taking time to be with us today, and I really appreciate the conversation.
My pleasure, Web, and all the best to what you do. Heartfelt wishes. The world needs more people who protect sustainability and promote it. Thank you for inviting me.
Sure, sure. And I really look forward to the day when I would get to come see your farm in person and meet with you all and enjoy the work that you all do. Thank you so much once again.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Listeners, as
Bye-bye.
always, follow the podcast, rate the podcast, leave a review from your podcast app of choice. Follow me on Instagram and YouTube at YP Kumar. That's VAIPKUMAR for all things digital media and lifestyle. Until next time, with yet another interesting guest and yet another interesting topic, it's me, Bye, saying so long.